Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to News 5 Now, our live stream of the day. The first one here, we're starting at, my ear's itching. I don't know why. 8 o'clock this morning. Yeah. And we're right on time. How about that? So we'll get started right now.
Brought to you by Green and Phillips, covering news from your neighborhood and around the world. News 5 Now starts right now.
All right, we hope you're all doing well on this Monday morning. I'm Bill Riles, fresh off the heels of News 5 this morning. Maybe some of you were watching, where we discussed things like the country's longest zip line in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. That was interesting. Whether or not you would do that kind of stuff, and our question of the day kind of hints on some of this thrill-seeking that many of you may be into. So we'll get your story started with our big stories of the day. And number 5, President Trump said in an interview with NBC's Meet the Press this weekend that he did not know if it was his job to uphold the Constitution and does not know whether every person living on American soil is entitled to due process. The president made his remarks in response to questions about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador in what justice officials called a clerical error. The president also said during the interview that he does not plan to run for a third term. Number 4, in Rome, Cardinals from around the world are gathering in preparation for the conclave, the election in which a new pope will be selected. The conclave doesn't officially get underway until Wednesday, but Cardinals are already getting together for dinners and discussion. The new pope will be selected in the Vatican's famed Sistine Chapel by Cardinals who are under the age of 80, and you saw them already erecting the smokestack. I guess if you get black smoke, there's no pope yet. If you get the white smoke, then they've elected a pope. So we will wait to see the smoke from the conclave. Number 3, 32 people had to be rescued after their boat began to take on water near Miami Beach over the weekend. This is a 63-foot vessel. It started to sink shortly after setting sail. Authorities are still trying to figure out what caused the boat to start sinking, but this was on social media if you saw it over the weekend. This is a $4 million Lamborghini yacht, and apparently there were like 32 people on board this thing when it started taking on water and sinking. You see some of them still on the bow of the boat up there, waiting to be rescued by the Coast Guard and other authorities. But interesting story there from Miami Beach over the weekend. A couple of things to note. Number 2, starting today, the Michigan Avenue detour behind the new Mobile International Airport Terminal will be permanently closed. Drivers will need to use Perimeter Road to access the new terminal entrances if you're there at the Brooklyn Aeroplex and driving around. Number 1, starting this Wednesday, you'll need the real ID to access some government building or pass through airport security. Now, you've heard about this thing. In Alabama, they call it the Star ID, and you've been hearing about it for probably the past 20 years. They keep bumping the deadline up, but this deadline, they say, is the real one. TSA says right now about 1 in 5 flyers, passengers, are showing up without a compliant ID. If you don't have one, a real ID yet, you can use your passport instead if you have a passport. If not, you're likely to run into some trouble if you're trying to fly domestically or enter some federal buildings. So all of those are some things to keep in mind as you get into your week ahead. Shimani Baker was already trying to figure out what the documents that she needs, and some of those include your birth certificate or passport. You can also use a utility bill to show your proof of where you live, your residency, and your Social Security card. You're going to need that as well. I know this because I just did this just a few weeks ago and got the real ID. So how about that? All right, we'll get you over to our question of the day, which is actually our question from Friday. So it's the question of Friday. How about that? But we didn't, I don't guess it got updated over the weekend or through here. So Microsoft raising price on Xbox and other items. What's the most you'd pay for a gaming console? You know, when it came out, there was a new console. It came out. I can't remember what it was. I don't know. It was one that came out last year before last, and you couldn't get it. You just couldn't get it. I think bots would buy them all up or something. I don't know. It was ridiculous, but the price got up there, and I wasn't I wasn't going to pay that price. I'm not a gamer anyway, but my grandson is, so he wanted one of those. I don't know. What would you pay for a gaming console? Let's see some of the comments that no doubt some of you. Zip Grace says the only games I seem to play these days are with men. Carl, maybe $1. Microsoft not on his list. Yeah. Darcy, 50 enough? Yeah, I'll give you 50 for that. How about that? I don't know. With the components and the tariffs and all that, the prices for some of these things are definitely going to go up. We've already seen the prognosis for that, so we'll find out just how much and when and where, and if they're going to be empty store shelves, who knows? Who knows what all that's about? We'll find out in the coming days. And this, of course, the Hot Air Balloon Festival, our poll of the day, our Hot Air Balloon Festival, the Gulf Coast Hot Air Balloon Festival was canceled after Friday night because of the weather we were expecting on Sunday, or Saturday rather, and the Saturday weather was not conducive to hot air balloons, even the hot air balloon glows or maybe the tethered rides, just not conducive to that. But our poll of the day, will you ever ride in a hot air balloon? If you got the opportunity, I have. It was okay. It was quiet, very nice. But it not exactly my cup of tea. It seems like too much out of control for me. But if you get the opportunity, some of you thrill seekers might do it. We talked about thrill seeking this morning with the Pigeon Forge zip line that is now a mile long, and you can scoot along that thing about 55 miles an hour, view the Smoky Mountains all up there. So if you're headed up to Pigeon Forge, that's something that you might want to consider. How about that? Hey, look, if you want to comment on our poll or our question of the day, do so. If you're right here on our WKRG Facebook page, we'd love to hear from you, or any of the stories that you see posted on our Facebook page as well. And we're coming back. Devin Walsh with News 5 at 9 this morning and noon. She'll be back for News 5 Now at 12:30 today. We've got our big block of news that begins at 4 this afternoon. And I, along with Shimani Baker and John and Caroline and Simone, will see you bright and early tomorrow morning for Tuesday's version of WKRG News 5 this morning. I'm Bill Riles. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you then.
Covering news from your neighborhood and around the world. You are watching News 5 Now, brought to you by Green & Phillips.